It's October 2023 right now, and that means that about 3 years ago, Josep Maria Bartomeu officially resigned as Barcelona's president. At this moment, Barcelona are in quite a positive spell again, but we tend to forget sometimes to what extent Bartomeu turned Barcelona into a miserable club, into the laughingstock of Europe, into a place without dignity, a place that is everything but more than a club. How did that all exactly happen? How did Bartomeu destroy FC Barcelona? Well, that's what we'll discuss in this video, so make sure to stay tuned. First of all, we need to go back to the summer of 2010. Joan Laporta's first spell as a president of FC Barcelona had just ended, and a new president needed to be elected. Eventually, it was Sandro Rosell who won those elections, and his right-hand man was no other than Josep Maria Bartomeu. During the presidency of Rosell, Barcelona would already lose a part of its soul and identity. Under Laporta, Barcelona had established a partnership with UNICEF to show that Barcelona are more than just a club and to use Barcelona's popularity for a good cause. Under Rosell, UNICEF would lose its place on the front of Barcelona shirts, to be replaced by Qatar Airways. Now, of course, it's understandable that in a world where all of your rivals get funded by sponsorships with big companies, you're looking to do the same to keep your head above the water, but at least have some authenticity. At least choose a company that has something to do with Barcelona, or something that just has some kind of significance in Catalonia, a Catalan bank for example. But no, Rosell chose to go down the route of Qatar Airways. Barcelona had always been known for representing Barcelona and Catalonia, and for being an authentic club that represented the beliefs of local people. This just didn't correspond to the image that Barcelona was supposed to have. Also, Sandro Rosell didn't have a good relationship with both Pep Guardiola, which is one of the things that led to Guardiola leaving Barcelona, and with Johan Cruyff, from whom he took his honorary president title that Joan Laporta had given to him. During Joan Laporta's presidency, Johan Cruyff had advised him on all of his decisions, and without him, Frank Rijkaard would have never become a Barcelona coach for example, and he's just the father of modern football and Barcelona. Taking that function away from him was just wrong. In Barcelona's environments, there have always been friends and rivals, but I think everyone will agree that most of us would have always wanted the Cruyffistas like Joan Laporta to be in charge of the club. Sandro Rosell was the wrong man for this position. And lastly, he also made some financial blunders during the transfer of Neymar to Barcelona, a problem that has kept on coming back every once in a while during the last decade. When Laporta once said that Barcelona is more than a club, he described it as Johan Cruyff, La Masia, Catalonia and UNICEF. Well, yeah, one thing's for sure. Rosell resigned on the 24th of January 2014 due to those problems with the Neymar transfer, and Josep Maria Bartomeu, who replaced him, was inheriting a Barcelona that was all but more than a club. Bartomeu would go on to stay Barcelona's president until October 2020, and in those 6 years he made some huge transfer blunders. So let's take a deeper look into his horrendous transfer policy. In the summer of 2014 he actually did quite well. He signed Luis Suarez, Ivan Rakitic and Marc-André ter Stegen, who would all go on to become legends at Barcelona. Claudio Bravo, Thomas Vermael and Jeremy Mathieu weren't bad signings either really. In the summer of 2016 he signed some big talents like André Gomes and Paco Alcácer, who had both been prolific at Valencia, for a combined fee of 67 million euros. Now, they were talented, but with André Gomes for example, you do wonder, was La Masia really not an option in an era where you still had Iniesta and Rakitic who were both world class? Someone like Denis Suarez? There are always midfielders at La Masia who are very talented, and you didn't need more quality at midfield at this point. You needed to let the younger generation grow alongside the legends. And when it comes to Paco Alcácer, you could have just used someone like Munir in his rotational role as well. Alcácer never did better than the La Masia prospect had done. The only good signing that summer was Samuel Umtiti for 25 million euros, who was a generational talent and would go on to actually establish himself at Barcelona. If it wasn't for his injuries, he would have probably been a Barcelona legend by now. Other signings like Luca Digne and Jasper Sillissen for a combined fee of about 30 million euros again make you just wonder why you would not just trust La Masia in order not to spend that much money. The worst was yet to come though. In the summer of 2017, Bartomeu lost Neymar to PSG, a player who could have well taken over Messi's mantle once he left Barcelona and become Barcelona's number 10, was now going to a club like PSG for a fee of 222 million euros. As we already know that Bartomeu isn't able to just not spend money and trust La Masia, it's no surprise that he started spending this money like a fool, as if he was playing FIFA career mode. Ousmane Dembélé for 135 million euros, Philippe Coutinho for the same fee, Paulinho for 40 million, Nelson Semedo for 36 million, and players like Yerry Mina and Marlon for smaller fees. Is there one transfer in there that actually made sense? Semedo maybe, but neither Dembélé or Coutinho was going to replace Neymar. If you lose a player like Neymar, you have to accept that he won't immediately be replaced. Dembélé was primarily a right winger, and Coutinho was primarily a creative 10. So I just don't know what Bartomeu was thinking when spending that much money on players like them. Dembélé was a very promising talent, but come on, 135 million euros, really? Kylian Mbappé. He would have been a good signing. He could have played in that left winger role that Neymar used to play in. Apart from that, something called patience could have helped Barcelona as well. Definitely more than panicking and signing big players like Bartomeu did now. 1 year later, in 2018, Bartomeu made one good signing. Arthur Melo for 31 million euros. A young promising midfielder from Brazil who seemed to have the profile to play at Barcelona. But apart from that, signings like Lenglet for 36 million, Malcolm for 41 million and Arturo Vidal for 80 million just made you wonder again, why not just trust La Masia and not spend that money? On top of that, Barcelona signed some players on loan like Josep Murillo and Kevin Prince Boateng. Come on, just why? In the summer of 2019, they famously signed Griezmann for 120 million euros. By now, Bartomeu must have already known that this was going to have some financial impact on Barcelona in the long term. And again, where would Griezmann even fit into the team? He wasn't a replacement for Neymar, but he wasn't going to play where Messi or Suarez were playing either. So again, just what was Bartomeu exactly thinking? Bartomeu would, after that, still going to make one weird transfer. A swap deal with Juventus with Arthur Melo for Miralem Pjanic in 2020. That felt as if Barcelona were just swapping Arthur with an Arthur who was 6 years older. And again, it just didn't really make sense. One last point of credit we have to give to Bartomeu though is that he did sign Frenkie de Jong for 68 million euros. Again, that's a lot of money, but in this rare case it was probably worth it. And lastly, it was also under him that Barcelona made the deal for their best ever transfer possibly, signing Pedri for Las Palmas for 17.5 million euros in 2020. Overall though, Bartomeu proved not to be good at managing Barcelona's squad. He didn't trust La Masia at all and rather wanted to buy players elsewhere that often weren't going to fit in better in Barcelona's lineup. And he just wasn't good with money and was way too quick to spend big money on big names. Apart from that though, he also had no charisma or power. When it came to wages, he often handed out big contracts that would harm Barcelona financially in the long term, and that just gave too much power to the players. Messi, Suarez, Piqué, Rakitic, they all had astronomically big wages at some point. All because of Bartomeu not being able to stand his ground and draw a line to keep Barcelona healthy financially. This resulted in the players gaining too much power and in a lack of structure and discipline at the club. There were even rumors that Coutinho joined Barcelona because Luis Suarez had asked so, as it was his old friend from Liverpool and as he would fit in well according to him. Bartomeu had no control over the players and their agents, and this resulted in a total collapse of the structure at Barcelona and in an unhealthily ridiculous wage bill. For Barcelona in the long term, that has proven to be almost fatal, and it all started with Bartomeu himself. Lastly, it is even rumored that Bartomeu once hired in a company, i3 Ventures, to promote Barcelona on social media and to especially promote his image and that of everyone he was befriended with inside of Barcelona, and to start a campaign against his rivals, including some of Barcelona's own star players. He was in some way really a Sandro Rosell 2.0, and after his spell at Barcelona, the club was left in ashes and was at the brink of bankruptcy. And it definitely wasn't more than a club anymore. That was it for today's video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and feel free to share your own opinion in the comments down below. Força Barça, and have a good day.